Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Well, what is the goal for you of this movie?
We have learned where things can go if we let the free market do whatever it wants. You know, as we saw with all the bank failures and the millions of people who lost their homes and the mortgage crisis, we know where things go. But, you know, maybe what we don't realize enough is that it's all completely absurd. The whole theory behind the free market being best left to its own devices and then everything will be great, it's a completely absurd idea. And so what we wanted to do with this movie is laugh about it and laugh it into oblivion. Let's look at a new way of doing things, which has the market as one tool among many to make things better for us.
And in fact, you went one step further, being the Yes Men. You envisioned what that world would look like, and you created a special edition of the New York Times.
Well, there were a lot of us. It wasn't just the Yes Men, it was a large group of people. We were just one of many groups. It was an idea that sparked a lot of people's imaginations. They wanted to see this happen. And that's sort of the message of the paper as well, is that, great, we elected Obama, and that's fantastic, but now the real work begins.
The idea was to put out something that was optimistic, that says, we can do all these things. Why not? We created the system that we have now, so why not create a good one instead?
Wow, very good. Let me tie you up. This is the big day. 7 a.m. rush hour. This is the time to get the papers out there.
Three times. Special issue. Special issue.
Free New York Times. Edition of New York Times. Free New York Times. Is this real?
It's fake, right?
Who publishes this?
Can I grab another one, please?
What?
New York Times.
National Health Insurance Act passes.
The Patriot Act repealed.
Maximum wage law succeeds. Good luck with that one.
This is too good to be true, but it's not impossible.
It's a dream newspaper, right? It's like you wake up and all the things that you wanted became the news.
The war's over!
Our fake news was a hit. But would the real news pick it up?
You don't work for the New York Times. Who is it that you work for handing this out?
A guy named John Smith?
Who?
Yeah, John Smith.
John Smith.
It's a New York Times special edition. Is there anything wrong with it? I mean...
Well, yeah, it's not the New York Times.
Extra, extra, read all about it. The New York Times declares the war in Iraq is over.
Some commuters got their hands on what looks like a special edition of the New York Times. As you might have guessed, though, it's a fake.
Eine New York Times in die Hand gedrückt bekamen, trauten jedenfalls ihren Augen nicht.
Джордж Буш отдан под суд, а Кондолиза Райс приносит официальные извинения за недостоверную.
We printed a paper with the headlines that we'd like to see. So if these are the headlines that people were so excited to read this morning, let's make them happen.
I think we have to exercise some muscles we either don't have or that have atrophied or something. A civic muscle, a thrifty muscle, a generous muscle.
So in this paper, there's a vision of a better world. All the articles are about great things that can happen in 6 months. It's post-dated what was then 6 months in the future. And each of the articles envisioned some great thing, but it only came about because people took to the streets and made it happen, or we made it happen. So we can't sit back and expect our leaders to do things. We actually have to make them do things.
And folks, on that note, you can get your own copy of the Yes Men's New York Times when you support Link TV during this fundraising drive. Andy, what else can people do to get activated when they see your films and they think, you know, enough is enough. This is funny, but it's time that we did something?
Well, there's different things. There's a website that people can sign up, beyondtalk.net, if you want to pledge to perhaps get arrested in an action around climate change. It's really the moment to get active around this in just 3 months now. There's the Copenhagen talks in December, which is possibly the last chance to actually do something significant about climate change. And we've got to take to the streets and make our government realize what they have to do.
Well, fast forward 5 years from now. It's your final Yes Men film because success is at hand. What does success look like to you and Mike?
And maybe we'll look at a maybe we'll have a world in which we're on track to lower carbon emissions, establish a juster form of energy distribution where people can create their own energy instead of be dependent on giant corporations for it. Maybe we'll be in a saner world that has a future.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world. To learn more, visit linktv.org.